Okay, so I got to tell you, we had a guest in the show in January named Candace Owens, and she is with the Turning Point USA organization. She's their, I think it's community outreach, or I'm not sure the title. She has a title for with the organization, but the short story in Candace Owens is she's a beautiful, young, black, articulate, spunky, funny, engaging woman. And I think she just started doing videos herself, but her among the main points she tries to make all the time, and politically, is why is the entire message of the Democrat Party to Black America that you are victims, that you must always self-identify as a victim, that your place in American society is as a victim. She is stellar. And so she gave a speech this past, I think just like 2 weeks ago in Minnesota at this organization, which is a conservative think tank. It's called the Center of the American Experiment. And that's actually a great website. Center of the American Experiment's a great website. Great people, great thinkers there. They're a think tank in Minnesota, but she gave a speech there. And I'm telling you, folks, what she is doing is revolutionary. I mean, revolutionary. Because she's engaging and she's right in the face of the media. And it isn't just the Democrat Party, it's the entire mainstream left-wing media and Democrat Party apparatus whose entire messaging to Black America is you are a victim. As a matter of fact, it's that same messaging to women. I'm going to hit that story after we talk about this story. But to start with Candace Owens, so let me just hit some clips and then I'll come back and comment on them because they were so good. She basically was giving a speech to this think tank about what inspires her to speak up so much. And she's not necessarily saying, I love all Republicans. Her message is, why isn't everyone encouraging each of us, regardless of our skin color, to think for ourselves? Why are Black Americans told you either toe the liberal party line or we all hate you? That's the message of the Democrat Party. You must, if you have black skin, you must agree with us. You're not allowed to think. And she really says it better than I could say it. So let me start with just clip one. She's fabulous. So Greg, if you have clip one.
Every few years you see that leftists and Democrats put up Jay-Z and Beyonce at every election cycle. They're throwing concerts because they have understood that we begin to idolize these people. We begin to idolize the music and we say, okay, well, if Beyonce says I'm with her, then of course I must be with her too. That is the thought process. The rappers and the singers become mom and dad, which is a huge problem and something that I understood had to be disrupted.
Okay, do you not love her? Rappers become mom and dad. You think about the role families have. I mean, I don't know about your family, all my listeners, but and I know our family. When I was growing up, my dad loved to engage the three of us. I was the oldest of three kids. Loved to engage us in conversations about politics. And he was Republican, but he was not dyed in the wool. He liked to talk about issues and what's the best way to help the poor and tax structure. He really liked to. And when our kids growing up, and my husband and I have three children, we love talking with our kids. But this image she's painting of your mom and dad become the rappers who are up there just basically, being paraded by the Democrat Party during election cycles and saying, oh, look, Beyonce thinks it votes Democrat. That must be me, too, versus encouraging people to think for themselves. She had another cut, too, where she talks on college campuses a lot. And this is really, really unnerving the American left because she's talking to young people and she's talking about idiotic things that they actually are taught in college relating race to economic policy. This is clip 2.
Capitalism, that is white supremacy. That's a really scary place to be when capitalism and free markets are being considered white supremacy on campus, not only because she's saying it, but because she has professors that are backing her up. These students actually believe that socialism is the answer. They can't tell you why there are people fleeing from Venezuela to get to America.
You know what? And she is right. There is the mixture in college campus speaking, especially in history classes, political science classes, all the social activism type of majors, which shouldn't even exist. But those kind of things, they blend skin color with economic messaging as though they have anything at all to do with each other. And then another clip, she's really good too, just talking openly, not just about things like you just heard her, but talking about this kind of this concept of racism as pervading the Democrat Party messaging all the time, as though this country is a place rampant with racism where we can barely walk on the streets safely. So she had a great clip. This is clip 3.
Perhaps racism is being used as a theme to turn black people into single-issue voters. Every single day on the television, we saw Black Lives Matter protesters. By the way, has anybody seen Black Lives Matter on CNN since the election ended? I haven't. I can't find them because guess what? Once the election is over, they no longer need to use black people like mules to bring them votes. And that's exactly what's going on. As a black American, as an American period, we couldn't be living in a more privileged time. And yet CNN is trying to sell me my own oppression. So I shoot this video and I basically say, am I the only person that, relies on their own experience to dictate what might be going on in the world? Am I the only person that can get up in the morning and go to Starbucks and a white person makes me my latte and they say, have a nice day. And then I go to the gym and I've got a Spanish guy who hands me my towel and he says, have a nice day. I'm living in a pretty okay place until I turn on CNN.
Okay, she is so rich in what she's saying, and because it's irrefutable. And this is, I want to tell you a family story here. We have a few minutes before this next break, because I could so relate, especially to the last thing she was saying. So my husband and I just came back. We went out of town over this past weekend to a wedding in the East Coast. And this is a wedding of a friend who lives here not a friend, it's my friend in Dallas' son, who is married back east. And the reason I'm going to tell you this story is that my friend, she and her husband are black. They have 3 sons, and this was their middle son getting married. And so we went back for the wedding, and this is one of my dearest friends on the planet Earth. And so we went back for the wedding. It's in this lovely area in North Carolina, and it was a huge, to my standards, a huge wedding, 200 people. And it was, as I say, my friend and her husband are black. They have these just stellar sons. I mean, they're fabulous parents, great children, great sons, great family, great woman and family he married into. But the point is, we were there for a weekend, and we met, and the wedding was probably, I don't know, of the crowd of 200, it was very significantly majority black Americans, and obviously we were there, and other white Americans, and a fair smattering of Asian Americans. And the truth is, we had a blast. Nobody talked about race. Nobody pointed out race. We just enjoyed each other. We enjoyed celebrating this precious young couple getting married. We enjoyed hearing about their love for each other and the families that raised them and got them to this point that were ready to be married. And we had, this, as I say, this is one of my best friends, pretty intimate conversations about life and how much you care so much about your children growing up and marrying and finding someone right and good to marry so they build a home for themselves. And the guests, we didn't know a lot of the people there because they were, that we were visiting from Texas. This was in North Carolina. I mean, we talked to a variety of, just met a bunch of new people, re-engaged with some people that I had met through my friend here on other social occasions. And the point of all this is what Candace Owens is saying, that the vast majority of Americans go around every day and interact with other Americans of other races, ethnicities, national origin, skin color. Other Americans do this all day long. This is the real America, what Candace Owens is describing. Of course, there are racist incidents. Of course there are. We are not perfect. So there are racist incidents that occur occasionally involving the police, and everybody, black, white, and everybody else, wants to have those incidents investigated, wants to understand what happened, wants to find justice, and we do pursue justice. But the left, the effort of the American left, the leftists who want to control this country, the George Soros who want to destroy the culture and fabric of America, They try to portray an America filled with racism. We can barely walk down the street without having some horrible racist incident occur. This is not what America is. And the beauty of when Candace Owens is saying it, is that people are starting to listen. We come back from the break, I'll tell you, President Trump's poll numbers are increasing among black supporters because Kanye West has now got on board with Candace Owens. More on that when we come back.